And I'll be, oh, I think we are live right now.
Yeah, it looks like we are live. Oh, hello, everyone. I'm here live with my very good friend Robert, and we are going to talk about this time six favorite albums from 1999 because it's just going to be us two. And it was a pretty big year, last year of the century, and we remembered that big scare about Y2K. Things were gonna we were gonna have some issues going
Mhm.
on, like computers and whatnot, and it never happened. It's a lot of times people like to scare. But anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let Robert start off with his choice.
All right. Well, thank you, Ron. Uh, I'm glad to be in your company, my friend. And well, the first album from 1999 that I want to talk about is this little gem, Liquid Tension Experiment 2. It's the second album of the prog rock supergroup composed of Dream Theater's members John Petrucci, Jordan Rudess, and Mike Portnoy, accompanied by bass legend Tony Levin. It's sort of an instrumental Dream Theater, if you want, if you think about it. Actually, Rudess wasn't a full-time member of Dream Theater at that point yet. Um, the album itself is very well crafted, with the four musicians truly at the top of their game as far as composition and musicianship. Uh, it's prog metal with guitar shredding and groovy bass line with a bit of a jazz fusion edge, a lot of improvisation mixed with tight turn on a dime composition. It's just a joy to listen to that stuff. Among the tunes on that album, you have Acid Rain. It's definitely one of the highlights of the album, along with Hourglass and Liquid Dreams. Very, very good album. I give it 4 stars out of 5 on this one. Now to you, Ron.
Yeah, I remember when that came out, and been always wanting to get it, but I don't know why I just never did. But I think they had a couple good. I think they have three of them now so far, right?
Yes, yes. And what their most recent is almost 22 years apart from the last one that they did. So that's quite a long wait for a third album.
All right. Well, my first one, I'm going to go in alphabetical, just for research, is Camel for Gas. And this was actually the second new release that I got from them. The first one was the Harder of Tears. And I prefer this one from that because just had a little more classic, classic feel to it
Mhm.
than the previous one. I know Harder of Tears was more of a personal thing.
Uh,
This one I enjoyed found out.
Ron, your vocals are breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, I noticed. I know why it's getting kind of
Might
crowded.
want to jiggle your microphone or something.
Let's see if I can show this out.
All right.
Oh, that sounds better.
Okay. Well, let's see if people can hear me out there. So, Andrew Latimer was basically the sole remaining founding member of the band. And I got a chance to see them live a few years later, and they opened up for the second group that I'm going to be talking about. And it was for the other way around. But one of my favorite songs on here is the final encore. I love his guitar playing. It's so it's coming from the heart. And it's not one of these flashy guitar players. It just comes out. It to me, in some ways, kind of falls a little bit under the like Robin Trower type guitar playing, where it's not trying to shred. It's coming from the heart, from the soul. And it was fun to revisit this recently, just to listen to it. I mean, it's a very somber album, but I think it's a wonderful album. And I think after this they have one more, and then they haven't done any studio albums since, which is a shame because I think it'd be great. I mean, just like a final one for the fans. Even if he doesn't tour with it, just something like a swan song, so to speak. But back to this one. It has some long songs. It has some short songs. It has some another good one that I like is "Shout," which is kind of, I could almost consider that a more mainstream kind of sounding song. Just something without really. I don't think it was geared for that, but it's something where not just the progressive rock community can listen to and enjoy, that it'll be more enjoyable for them too. So that is my first choice.
Excellent. Very, very good. Well, on to my second album. Everybody knows this one. In the world of progressive rock, it's well known. Dream Theater, Metropolis Part 2, Scenes from a Memory. This wonderful album, it's their fifth studio album, and most definitely one of the finest concept albums among concept albums. And for many Dream Theater fans, including me, probably their very best. It's prog rock with a metal edge, or prog metal with a rock edge. All I know is it's really good, and I admit in my own top 25 of all prog rock albums for my personal list. Um, Scenes from a Memory is definitely remarkable as an album in the particular category of contemporary progressive metal. It's the first album with Jordan Rudess on keyboard. But as I mentioned, he wasn't a full-time member of the band yet. He was doing some work with Dream Theater, but only on the subsequent album that he became, full-time member and touring member. The concept of Metropolis Part 2 revolves around a man who relives his past dark memories with the help of a therapist. The composition, lyrics, melodies, and harmonies just mesh together with stunning perfection. It's one of those albums you don't mind spinning twice in a row. Open your eyes, Nicholas. I give it a 4.5 stars out of 5. Back to you, Ron.
All right. I have a delay. Um, all right. My second choice is the Flower Kings, Flower Power. I
Fabulous.
remember buying this from a guy named Greg Walker, and it was. This is at that time. That's who my the major person I bought from. And so it starts off. The first disc is the Garden of Dreams, and it's a 60-minute song, and it's they do it in in parts like a suite. But then I noticed on this remix one, they did it as one song.
Oh, okay.
So it's all 60 minutes. And I kind of like that because then it just flows easily and then you can put the whole song, if you wanted to play it separately,
Mhm.
because that in itself is an album. It's almost like they got two albums in one. Then the second side has some great songs like Deaf, Numb, and Blind, Stupid Girl, and let's see what is the other. I mean, just a lot of great songs. They have they have been accused of having a lot of filler, and but when I go back to revisit some of those albums that I always heard people say they have filler on it, I don't hear it. I really don't hear it. I mean, so this is a great a great one. I mean, it's one of the great ones. I believe I think it's the third official Flower Kings album, uh, and it's just amazing how they keep on putting out just quality material.
True.
But that's one I would recommend for someone who wants to start off towards the beginning,
Mhm.
especially if you like epic music. So that's my second choice.
Mm. I love that album. Garden of Dreams is a fantastic song, but I have to admit, when you use random play on your computer, it sucks because it's broken in little bits. Anyway, so yeah, my next album is the classic of classic of metal. It's Metallica SNM. Uh, SNM, which stands for Symphony and Metallica, and not the other stuff. It's an excellent live album with the band accompanied by the San Francisco Symphony Orchestra. Uh, the album was 5 times platinum in sales in the US. The band even won a Grammy Award for Best Rock Instrumental Performance for The Call of Cthulhu. It has a great track list that includes Master of Puppet, Nothing Else Matters, Sad But True, and of course, Enter Sandman. It also features 2 new songs never played before, No Leaf Clover and Human. Uh, it sounds amazingly good. It's spectacularly well recorded, giving the old Metallica classics a whole other new dimension. It's big, big, bombastic, and lush. Solid 4 stars out of 5. Back to you, Ron.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that album. I do. And I'm sorry, folks. I am like, I think I figured it out. I'm like about 2 minutes behind behind the actual broadcast. For some reason, my computer is going faster than everything else, and I was hearing a lot of little it's like Robert was kind of breaking up in parts on me, so I didn't hear a lot of what he said. But so I will go with my third choice, Marillion.com.
Great album.
Now this one had a little more, I would say, more accessible music, but in the Marillion style. And but I have to say my two favorites off is the beginning. Is the first song, A Legacy, and then Interior Lulu. That's the long one. But that one, it had a more modern feel to it, whereas the other ones, I don't know, it was modern, like more. I mean, it kind of had dare I say, kind of a Radiohead-ish vibe to it, their songs. But Interior Lulu kind of went to a completely different area for me. And I love when this came out, I used to play that song to death. I mean, I just overplayed it, shared it with friends, whether they were into prog or not. I was sharing it with them and saying, here, you got to check this out. I mean, this is a really cool song, very modern. If you can handle a little over 10 minutes, be good. So, and it has this nice little, it's a digibook one, the version I got, which is kind of nice. I mean, I'm not really into things like this, but this is how it was made available. And I figured I'll get it, instead of the jewel case, just something kind of special for enjoying it.
Hmm. Right.
And you're next.
All right. And now for our obligatory Canadian content. Our Lady Peace. Happiness is not a fish you can catch. It's Canadian alt rock band, Our Lady Peace. It's a very, very prolific band with a definite Smashing Pumpkins vibe. Singer Rain Maida has a very characteristic voice that's spanning many, many octaves. On this album, the band is tight and energetic, and the album features a series of really, really catchy radio-ready tracks like Happiness Isn't the Fish, Blister, Lying Awake, One Man Army, Annie, Is Anybody Home, and Thief. It's one of those really good albums, good from beginning to end. It's a 3-time platinum in Canada, and it's still one of those groups that should have broken in the US, but didn't quite do it. I don't think you might be familiar with the band, Ron, but well, great effort, good album, 3.5 stars out of 5 on this one for me. Ron.
That sounds good. I never knew about that band. I heard of them, but I never heard their music, so I'll definitely look into that one. Next one up was kind of almost it was a runner-up. It's still one of my favorites of of 1999. And it's Spock's Beard, Day for Night.
Hmm.
And
Fabulous album.
I remember when it came out. I mean, I bought it, and a good friend of mine, he got it, and he basically kind of just ripped it to shreds. He goes, it's more, they're making everything more friendly sounding. And I was like, well, you can't always keep it all complex, or else, you know, the album starts sounding the same. So what I like about it is pretty much every song on there. I mean, you've got Day for Night, the title track. I mean, great song. Gibberish is another great song. Skin, which could have been, if someone marketed it right, that could have been a hit single. Then The Distance to the Sun, another great one. I mean, basically every song on this, including the healing colors of sound. I mean, the little epics that they have there. It's funny. Again, it's broken into pieces. But I had found it on YouTube. Someone put it together as one 20-minute song, and I really think that if they have a remaster of it, if they would do it that way, you know, because it's just so much, like you were saying earlier about if you put it in shuffle, you can get bits and pieces all out of order, and you're not gonna.
Yep.
It's not gonna flow right for you.
Nope.
But this one, I hear a lot of people say it's kind of almost like the black sheep of the catalog, of the Neil Morris catalog.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think so. I honestly, I enjoy each and every one of them, including after Neil Morris. They have a charm to them that brings out the Southern California prog sound, you know, and it changed over the years, but it kind of kept, you know, you knew who it was. And actually, you knew who it was regardless of the singer. But this is one I'd recommend, especially if you want to have a little easier entry point to the band, and let's say you're outside of the prog circle, you want a little entry into that. I would say this is the perfect one.
Yeah, safe and good.
All right, that's my fourth choice.
Great album. Spock's Beard has always been a favorite of mine. All right, my next album is a doozer. This is about as heavy as I can go musically. This is Nine Inch Nail, The Fragile, also known as Hollow 14. It's their third studio album. It's a double CD, no less. And I've just noticed while looking at it that the CDs are labeled right and left. It was produced by Trent Reznor himself, Nine Inch Nails frontman. The album went #1 on the week of its release, but dropped rapidly because as good as it wasn't as good as their absolutely amazing album, their previous album. The outstanding track on this album, The Day the World Went Away, We're in This Together, and Into the Void, are dark, proggy, electronic, avant-garde music with a really, really brutally sharp edge and pretty energetic vocals, as we know Trent Reznor can do. Overall, a very satisfying album, but not as mind-blowing as their previous album, The Downward Spiral. So I give it 3.5 stars out of 5.
Yeah, I noticed after a while with Nine Inch Nails, they tend to step away from the mainstream. I mean, the true fans kept on buying your stuff, but you didn't hear too much about them unless you were a fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, I like the very first one, the Pretty Hate Machine, and I liked everything up. And then after Downward Spiral, I didn't hear anything about them, because I was, counting on the music media to let me know what's going on, and pre-internet, so we had to learn by paper magazines. We didn't have Google or anything like that back then.
Mm-hmm.
I think we had a crude version of Yahoo, and we didn't have all the information that we needed, so we just had to rely on printed information, which people today kind of take for granted, that we could just pick up our phone or tablet or go on our computer and get the information instantly. Whereas back then, we had to wait for that magazine to show up, and they're usually about 6 months behind, 6 months to a year behind on their information.
Yeah, that's true.
But my next one is from Porcupine Tree.
Oh,
Stupid Dream. I remember my first. Actually, I got this. Let's see it. I got the cutout.
oh yeah.
The record label sent it to me. Don't know why they did, but they sent it to me, and I was like, okay. I listened to it, and I was like, here was. I was listening to Porcupine Tree from its beginnings, so I just saw the evolution. I was getting heavier. It still hadn't gotten to the point where there was, was it Deadwing and Fear of a Blank Planet. It wasn't to that caliber, but you heard a lot of it. It was getting there. I mean, with the opening track, even less. And then also a slave called Shiver. I mean, that was kind of like a modern song. Again, that would have been a great single if it was marketed correctly. But unfortunately, I don't think Prog knows how to market it into the mainstream, because there's not really, where do we categorize this as? It's not traditional rock. It's not anything else. But what is it? But it's all. It has a lot of great, Stranger by the Minute, and the kind of the very Pink Floyd sounding "Don't Hate Me." But this is a good one. I really enjoy. I see what Kevin says tonight. You'll be lagging like it's 1999. Yeah, pretty much. Maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe Zoom saw that I was dealing with 1999 and thought, oh, let's mess with this guy. But anyways, that is my 5th choice, and again, I would recommend that one.
Excellent. Highly recommended. All right. Well, Ron, my final album, Opeth, Still Life. That was the 4th studio album from that Swedish prog metal band. It was released in Europe in late 1999 but didn't see distribution in the United States until 2001. It's a concept album revolving around an anti-Christian theme about how the deeply devout blacklist those who do not share their faith. It features exceptional musicianship and composition work. Opeth really at their best on that album. It's elegant and intense, definitely one of their most memorable albums. Uh, one of their staple sound, the quiet passages with melodic vocals and acoustic guitar, followed by blistering metal fury, along with the classic Cookie Monster vocals. They're there in force. And it's one of the last one of that category before Michael Ackerfeld took the band into a more prog rock than metal direction in the 2000s. I love the first track of the album, The More. It's just blisteringly good. Oh, and just to note, the band will be in Montreal this October at the Olympia. I'll be there. I give that album 4 stars out of 5. That's my list.
I haven't got that one yet. The furthest I got back is Blackwater Park.
Oh, yeah.
So I need to go back even further and get those as well.
Oh, yeah. That's early
We
stuff.
were talking. Yeah, I definitely need to get that one. What is it? We were talking off camera about the Cookie Monster vocals, how it sounds like it could be devastating to the vocals, but I have seen videos about how it's a controlled thing. As someone that knows how to control their voice, it won't hurt it. But I think Michael decided after a while maybe it was just a little too much. I mean, he does live. He still does the stuff live, but for studio stuff, I mean, especially with the direction that Opeth has taken, they're more prog rock with some metal in it now than prog metal, and which is cool. I mean, I like it just the same. I like how bands get involved. Now for my final pick, and this is a nod to our friend Ian and also Alex. They're going to be surprised that I picked this one if they watch this. Croissant, number 6.
Love that one.
I got into these guys right after I got into Universe Zero around 2001. And all I could say with this album is just 2 words: beautiful chaos. It's just amazing. It has a very horror sounding vibe to it. Like the first one, the limping little girl. I mean, that alone is horrifying just in itself because of some of the modern horror with these, this a little girl unsuspecting, you don't think she's a threat, and then all of a sudden she's a threat. So I don't know what's going on, and it's just the power that it has. Now there are some songs on here that are in French that I'm not even I won't butcher them, but there's a second suite of songs. Let's see if I can clear it up the screen. Oh, I probably couldn't see it, but it has like a couple really short ones. But this one, I mean, I guarantee if you like Universe Zero, you're gonna like this. And for someone that I'm not really into that world, I find this band very enjoyable. It's just something about them that it hits. You know, how do you say, it checks off all the boxes that I want in music. I mean, I got the heaviness, I got the chaos in it, and just an amazing piece of work. And it just about all of them are, all the Prismatic albums are amazing. And that is my final favorite one for 1999.
Present is just a fantastic band. I had the absolute honor and privilege to organize a show with them in 2005. And at that point, I had the pleasure of meeting a gentleman called Stephen Takasi. And a year later, we organized together the FMPM Festival. So that's where, the seed of the FMPM Festival, happened.
It was good. I enjoyed that one. And that probably was going to probably surprise me and Alex that I picked that. And so that's dedicated to them.
That's classic rock in a position at its best.
Yeah, that was my wild card.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it looks like went through another good year of music.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate that you were able to do it, and I'm thankful that you decided to suggest that we do 6 instead of 5. So normally we do 5 if I have at least 3 people with me, but people have other obligations sometimes, and it just happens. So,
Well, my friend Ron, it was a pleasure to be in your company, and I had a great time chatting about my favorite music from the year 1999. It was fun. Thank you.
all right. Well, thank you again, Robert. I really appreciate you taking the time out, and we'll do this again soon.
Absolutely. Anytime.
All right. Well, I'll keep in touch with you and see what's going on for the next one. Go from there.
All right. Thank you. Have a great
All right.
evening.
You too. Thank you.
All right. See ya.
See ya. Sorry about that. For some reason, I had some lag going on there. Don't know why, because it was working perfectly before I went live. And I'm going to look into it. I do have an alternative for the next show, so I'm going to work on that. So at least if I'll have some way of doing this properly. All right. Well, thank you again for